Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! My relationship with my dad was always rocky, but things took a turn for the worse when my mom got sick. She had terminal cancer, and instead of supporting her, my dad made everything about himself. He'd yell at her for being sick. Can you believe that? And get this, he even tried to hook up with my mom's sister while my mom was still alive. It was disgusting. After my mom passed away, things got even worse. My dad burned family photos, sold my mom's beloved easel, and basically tried to erase her existence. I was only 13 at the time, and it felt like I was losing both my parents. When my dad got remarried, he moved his new wife into our house and started getting rid of all my mom's things. My aunts and uncles had to step in and save what they could. I couldn't take it anymore, so I moved out when I was 17. I tried to keep minimal contact with my dad for a while, but by the time I was 20, I'd had enough. I cut all ties with him and went completely no contact. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was necessary for my mental health. Fast forward to about a year ago when I got the news that my dad had died. I was 33 by then and hadn't spoken to him in over a decade. To my surprise, I found out he'd left me a significant inheritance, a bunch of money, and even put my name on a deed of our old family vacation home. He didn't tell his wife or their kids about it, which I guess was his way of trying to make amends. I didn't go to the funeral or anything, but somehow his widow got hold of my contact information. He called me out of the blue, and boy, was she not happy. You need to step up and take care of your family. Don't you want better for your siblings? I'm sorry, but I don't consider them my family. My father stopped being family to me a long time ago. How can you be so cold to your own flesh and blood? Your father screwed them over, and now you're doing the same? You owe them something. I don't owe anyone anything. This was my father's decision, not mine. You're being selfish and cruel. Where are your morals? I hung up and blocked her number, but she wasn't done. She started harassing me on social media, calling me all sorts of names and trying to guilt-trip me into giving up my inheritance. One day, I'd had enough of her constant badgering. I decided to respond to one of her messages. Listen, I understand you're upset about the situation, but harassing me isn't going to change anything. My father made his choices, and I'm not responsible for them. I suffered for years because of his actions. This inheritance doesn't even begin to make up for it. You don't know what suffering is. My children are going to struggle because of your selfishness. I'm sorry your children are in this situation, but that's not my fault. If you want to be angry at someone, be angry at your late husband. He's the one who made these decisions. How dare you speak ill of the dead? You're heartless. I am not heartless. I'm being realistic. Your husband wasn't the man you thought he was. He hurt a lot of people, including me. This inheritance doesn't erase that hurt, but it's legally mine. I suggest you focus on taking care of your children instead of trying to guilt me into giving up what's rightfully mine. We'll see about that. I'll take you to court. Go ahead. The documents are all legally binding. You'll just be wasting your time and money. True to her word, Karen tried to sue me for a fair share of my father's assets. But as I predicted, her case didn't go far. The judge took one look at the documents and dismissed her claim. She was furious, but there was nothing she could do. After the failed lawsuit, I thought that would be the end of it, but Karen wasn't done yet. She started spreading rumors about me in my old hometown, trying to turn people against me. Some distant relatives even reached out, asking why I was being so cruel to my father's family. And I decided to set the record straight. I wrote a detailed post on social media explaining my history with my father, the years of emotional abuse, and why I had cut contact. I didn't go into all the gory details, but I made it clear that my decision wasn't made lightly. To my surprise, many people reached out with messages of support. Some even shared similar stories of their own. Karen's attempts to vilify me had backfired. In the end, I decided to donate a portion of my inheritance to a charity that supports children of abusive parents. It felt like the right thing to do, and it helped me find some closure. As for Karen and her kids, I heard that she eventually had to move to a smaller house and get a job. It wasn't the life of luxury she'd been expecting, but they were managing. I still sometimes think about the whole situation and wonder if I could have handled it differently. But then I remember all the pain my father caused, and I know I made the right choice. Sometimes you have to prioritize your own well-being even if others do not understand. 5 years ago, I was working at a factory. One day, a faulty piece of machinery malfunctioned, and before I knew it, my right arm was gone. The accident was devastating, and for a while, I thought my life was over. But then I met her, my now wife. She was a biomedical engineer working on advanced prosthetics, and she quite literally became my saving grace. Not only did she help me through the darkest period of my life, but she also introduced me to the world of high-tech prosthetics. Over time, I became fascinated with the technology. My wife and I started working together, combining my mechanical knowledge with her biomedical expertise. We began developing cutting-edge prosthetic limbs that could rival and sometimes even surpass their biological counterparts in terms of strength and dexterity. Our work caught the attention of a tech company that was organizing a tournament. It wasn't just any tournament, though. This was a competition where people with prosthetic limbs could showcase the capabilities of their artificial appendages in various challenges, including combat scenarios between machines. The idea was to push the boundaries of what prosthetics could do and raise awareness about the potential of this technology. My wife and I have been working on a prototype for months. It was a prosthetic arm that could interface directly with my nervous system, allowing for unprecedented control and sensitivity. We had high hopes for the tournament, believing our creation could revolutionize the field. On the day of the tournament, we arrived at the venue early. It was a beautiful summer day, and the organizers had set up the event in a large park. There was a grand fountain in the center, surrounded by various stations for different challenges. People were milling about, some with visible prosthetics, others without. There was an excited buzz in the air. We were standing near the fountain going over some last-minute adjustments to my arm when it happened. I felt a sharp tug on my prosthetic, nearly yanking me off balance. I turned around to find a woman, probably in her 40s, with a severe bob cut and an even more severe expression, clutching my arm. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" "This arm. My son needs it." I was so shocked I couldn't respond for a moment. Was this woman serious? "I'm sorry, but this is my prosthetic arm. I need it for the tournament." "Don't be selfish. My son wants to participate in the tournament too. Let him use your arm." I noticed a boy, maybe 12 or 13, standing behind her looking mortified. "Ma'am, this isn't a toy. It's a complex piece of medical equipment designed specifically for me. Your son cannot just use it." "Don't lie to me. I saw how easily you took it off. Now hand it over." She yanked on my arm again, harder this time. I winced as the connection point started to strain. "Stop that. You're going to damage it. If you just give it to us, there wouldn't be a problem." By this point, a small crowd had gathered around us. My wife stepped forward, a little bit concerned and angry. "Let go of my husband's arm right now. Mind your own business. This is between me and him." "That arm is our business. We designed and built it ourselves." "Well, then you can make another one. My son deserves a chance to win this tournament." I tried to reason with her one more time. "Look, even if I wanted to, your son couldn't use this arm. It's calibrated to my nervous system. It wouldn't work for him." "You're just being selfish. You'll probably have other arms at home. Get this one to my son." She gave another hard yank, and I felt something in the arm start to give. Panic rose in my chest. Months of work were about to be destroyed by this entitled woman. And that's when my wife had enough. Without warning, she stepped forward and shoved Karen hard. The woman, still gripping my prosthetic arm, lost her balance and stumbled backward. She let go of my arm as she flailed, trying to regain her footing. But it was too late. With a loud splash, she fell right into the fountain. The crowd around us gasped, then burst into laughter. Karen surfaced, sputtering and flailing her perfectly coiffed hair, now a sodden mess. Her son, far from looking upset, seemed relieved. "How dare you? I'll sue you for this." "Go ahead. I'm sure the police would love to hear how you were trying to steal a medical device." Karen clambered out of the fountain, dripping and fuming. She grabbed her son's hand and started to storm off, but a security guard who had finally made his way through the crowd stopped her. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with me. We have some witnesses who'd like to give statements about your attempt to steal that gentleman's prosthetic arm." "What? No. They assaulted me. Did you see what that woman did?" "Yes, ma'am, I did. And I also saw you repeatedly trying to remove that man's prosthetic arm against his will. Now please come with me. As a guard led Karen away, still protesting loudly, her son hung back for a moment. I'm really sorry about my mom. I told her I didn't want to be in this tournament, but she wouldn't listen. It's okay, kid. It's not your fault. The boy nodded sadly and followed after his mom and a security guard. My wife turned to me, concern etched on her face. Are you okay? Is the arm damaged? I flexed the prosthetic, running a quick diagnostic. It seems alright. Maybe a little water damage from the splash, but nothing serious. Good. I was worried you'd broken it. Thanks for having my back. Literally. Who would have thought that losing an arm could lead to all this? Life really does work in mysterious ways. And sometimes those mysteries involve entitled parents getting a well-deserved dunking in a fountain. I've always been a quiet one in my family. I was a middle child, and I learned to be stealthy to avoid my rowdy siblings. It became second nature to move silently, barely leaving a trace. As I got older, I mostly shook off this habit except when someone specifically told me to be quiet. Life took me down an unexpected path. After high school, I moved in with my nearly deaf grandfather to help care for him. Those 4 years living with him changed me. I had to speak louder just to have a normal conversation. It was like my volume knob got stuck on high. When I started working at this big warehouse store, my booming voice actually came in handy. I'm a big guy. Picture a bald, beer-bellied redneck in a red vest. So being loud helped customers find me easily. I'd chat with myself while restocking shelves or organizing inventory, and folks would follow the sound of my voice when they needed assistance. I loved helping people. It gave me a little rush every time I solved someone's problem or found that hard to locate item. The pay wasn't great, but that feeling of being useful kept me going on tough days. Everything was fine until last week when this lady, let's call her Karen, stomped up to me with a sour look on her face. Excuse me, you're being way too loud and noisy. It's giving me a headache. Oh, I'm sorry about that, ma'am. I'll try to keep it down. I lowered my voice and promised to do better, but apparently that wasn't enough for Karen. She went and complained to my supervisor, who then asked me to be less talkative at work. Well, they wanted quiet, I'd give them quiet. For the next week, I became a ghost. I moved silently through the aisles, appearing seemingly out of nowhere when customers needed help. The results were interesting, to say the least. On Monday, I was restocking paper towels when a lady turned a corner and nearly jumped out of her skin. You scared me half to death. I am sorry about that. Is there anything I can help you with? Tuesday brought more of the same. I was kneeling to straighten some items on a bottom shelf when a man almost tripped over me. Holy! Where did you come from? I'm sorry about that. Is there anything I can help you with? By Wednesday, word had spread among the staff. I overheard two cashiers talking during their break. Have you seen the big guy in aisle 12? He's like a freaking ninja or something. I know, he appeared out of nowhere yesterday and I screamed so loud. I think I scared off the customer I was helping. Thursday was when things really got interesting. I was organizing a display near the front of the store when my supervisor came looking for me. Hey, has anyone seen? Jesus Christ! He turned around and found me standing right behind him. I think I saw his soul leave his body for a second. I'm sorry about that. Is there anything I can help you with? Good lord, man, we need to put a bill on you or something. By Friday, the complaints had started rolling in. Customers were upset that they couldn't find me when they needed help. Little did they know I was often just an aisle over, silently waiting to assist. The weekend brought more of the same. On Saturday, I helped a Native American couple find some camping gear. When I appeared next to them to offer assistance, the man let out a string of words in Navajo that I'm pretty sure weren't thank you. I'm sorry about that. Is there anything I can help you with? His wife couldn't stop laughing. Sunday was a cherry on top. Karen came back to the store looking smug as she browsed the aisles. I saw her struggling to reach something on a high shelf and silently made my way over. Can I help you with that, ma'am? Ah, where did you come from? Oh, it's you. She narrowed her eyes at me, probably trying to decide if I was being loud again. I see you've learned to keep your voice down, but now I can't find any help when I need it. I'm sorry about that. Is there anything I can help you with? Yes, actually, I need to speak to your manager. This is ridiculous. I escorted Karen to the customer service desk where my supervisor was working. As we approached, I caught his eye and gave a little wave. He visibly flinched. Oh, it's you. What can I help you with? Karen launched into a tirade about how she couldn't find any staff to help her, how the store was too quiet, and how she had to struggle to reach things on her own. My supervisor listened patiently, then turned to me with a resigned look. I think we may have overcorrected on the noise issue. You can go back to your normal volume, okay? Are you sure? I don't want to disturb anyone. Yes, please. Just maybe find a middle ground. I couldn't help but smile as I walked away. Lesson learned. Sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. As for me, I found my voice again, quite literally. I went back to humming and chatting as I worked. The jump scares decreased, customer satisfaction improved, and I even got a little raise for improving customer communication. And Karen, well, I hear she now brings earplugs when she shops, just in case. When I was in 7th grade, I was a shy, awkward kid just trying to find my place in the world. And that's when she came into my life, a girl who would make the next 6 years a living nightmare. From day one, she targeted me. It started small, snide comments about my clothes, my hair, anything she could pick on. But as time went on, it escalated. She'd accidentally knock my books out of my hands in the hallway, spread vicious rumors about me, and even once dumped her lunch tray on me in the cafeteria. I tried everything to make it stop. I told teachers, my parents, even tried confronting her myself. Nothing worked. She was popular, came from a wealthy family, and somehow always managed to charm her way out of trouble. High school was even worse. She made sure I had no friends, no social life. I dreaded going to school every day, wondering what new humiliation she had in store for me. My grades suffered, my self-esteem plummeted, and I even considered dropping out at one point. But I persevered. I focused on my studies, found solace in after-school clubs where she couldn't reach me, and counted down the days until graduation. And that's when my opportunity for revenge presented itself. My older sister came to visit a week before graduation, and she brought these weird stink bombs with her. Not the usual kind, but these glass things filled with the most putrid liquid you can imagine. All you had to do was break the glass and the stench would seep into whatever it touched. As soon as I saw them, a plan started forming in my mind. I knew it was childish, but after years of torment, I couldn't resist. I enlisted the help of my only friend, and together we hatched our scheme. The day before graduation, we managed to slip one of the stink bombs into the small top pocket of her backpack. I knew her habit of sitting on her bag. She always complained about how the chairs felt. It was perfect. Graduation day arrived, and I could barely contain my excitement. We were all gathered in the gym for a final inspection before the ceremony. I watched as she sauntered in, tossing her hair and laughing with her friends. She plopped down on her backpack, and then crack, boom. The sound of breaking glass was like music to my ears. Her eyes went wide as the smell hit her. It was worse than I could have imagined. Like a septic tank had exploded. People around her started gagging and moving away. Oh no, what happened? What is that smell? Oh my god! It's coming from me! She jumped up frantically, trying to figure out what had happened. But it was too late. The liquid had already seeped into her graduation gown. What's going on here? A teacher asks. I don't know. Something in my bag broke and now I smell horrible. Well, we don't have time for this. The ceremony is about to start. You'll just have to make do. But I can't go out there like this. Everyone will notice. I'm sorry, but we have no choice. Let's go, everyone. As we filed out to take our seats, I could see the panic and humiliation on her face. Throughout the entire ceremony, people around her were gagging and trying to subtly move away. Even from my seat, I could see her face turning red with embarrassment. When it came time for her to walk across the stage and receive her diploma, the look on the principal's face as he handed it to her was priceless. He tried to maintain his composure, but I saw him wince and hold his breath. As we threw our caps in the air at the end of the ceremony, I got a glimpse of her rushing off, probably to change and get away from the stares and whispers. I know it was pity and maybe I should have been a bigger person, but in that moment, seeing her finally get a taste of the humiliation she put me through for years, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. As we left the auditorium, I overheard some of her friends talking. Did you smell Karen? What happened to her? I don't know, but it was awful. I could barely stand next to her for our group photo. So much for her big graduation moment. I bet she's mortified. I walked away with a small smile on my face. She never found out it was me, and I was content to keep it that way. As I joined my family for celebration photos, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. High school was over, and I was finally free from her torment. Looking back, I know what I did was immature, but sometimes, when you've been pushed too far for too long, even the most level-headed person can snap. I am not proud of it, but I can't say that I regret it either.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.